ever since our protagonist was young. Instead of playing with friends, he preferred reading comics and novels. He looked up to the main characters and wanted to become one as well. One day, he got addicted to a certain game. After showing immense talent in it, he achieved good results as a pro gamer, but forever second, Jin Jiangdo. No matter how hard he tried, he was not able to become the main character. But one day, the catastrophe occurred. Reality has become more game-like than actual games. Dungeons formed all over the city, and monsters spewed out of them. And certain people appeared in opposition to the monsters, known as the Mana users. In this era, Mana users gets more attention than any celebrities. The very definition of the main character that he dreamed of could become true with this revolution. But that dream was utterly crushed. His stats were the lowest. Then one day, after 8 years, a girl scared him when he entered his apartment. When he asked what is she doing in his apartment, she replied that she is an agent from the universe, Winry Makina. She came here to pay her respect and give a gift to who embodies the first miracle. Jin Jiangdo gets surprised. What she meant by the first miracle? He then says that his abilities are shitty and of the lowest stats. She denies him, saying that he is very valuable, as he is the second to ever awaken level 3 communication since the inception of the universe. She touches him, he is screaming in pain. But after the completion of skill grant, he wonders what just happened, and gets a notification that he have received many skills. Then a voice says to use the status window for more information. The girl bids her farewell to him. He thought that he is hallucinating from too much drinking. Then he says status window, and a window appears in front of him. He is familiar to his low-level skills, but he notices a different skill, the info gacha. He clicks on it, and suddenly a monster appears named Gacha and gives him a golden capsule. Jin is confused. He opens it and rare future information shows up, saying about the winning lottery numbers, and also that first info gacha of the day does not use any mana. Now, one day ago, we see the scene from his guild. Everyone is praising him about how he won the contract for the newly discovered dungeon. But a person also mocks him, saying that he is just a petty salesman, and he can't do anything other than drinking to win the contract. He is a hunter who enters the dungeons. Guild leader says if he was not the hunter, he would face punishments for saying so. And then he gives the promised money to Jin. That is 300,000 won. Jin is happy that after 8 years of hardworking he is able to get the amount, which he will use to get himself awakened. He reaches the magical tool that turns normal people to mana users and measure their stats at the same time. He hears some familiar noises. When he turns back, he found his guild members. The guild leader says that today is the day 2 of his guild's member will be awakened. It's Yu Soyun's turn to get in. Before she enters the place, Jin notices some stats the person that just got awakened. He had mana of 11 and 4 talents. Jin thinks about how low his stats are, and also hears various comments about the low stats from his surroundings, mocking that guy. Soyun's stats are calculated. Her mana is 27, and number of talents are 11, and her main talent is Saintess. Everyone present, including the guild members, got shocked, because even a 3-year veteran might only be able to have mana of 30, but she have 27 from the very beginning. And the record for most number of talents in Korea is just 13. Everybody shouts that the best rising star has appeared, and approaches her to recruit in their guild. But the guild master already blocked their approach, saying she already belongs to their guild. It's the turn of Jin Jiangdo. Soyun says not to worry as he will get better results than her. Jin says thanks and enters the place. He places his hands firmly on the crystal ball, and the message appears saying 10 minutes will be required for evaluation. He is happy as his dream will come true soon. But the results were the opposite of what he expected. He got mana of 7 and 3 talents in total, and main talent as communication. He cannot use his talents in combat. He is in utter despair. Everyone tries to comfort him, but he says that it's fine as bad draws happens a lot. Then officer gave them mana watches, so their powers can be monitored. Soyun says that he should head in early and rest. Jin says that he is fine and she should not be worried about him. But he starts drinking heavily as he walks out, saying after being a pro gamer, his new dream of 8 years is shattered by his shitty talents. Now at the present, by seeing his status window, he is confused about this gacha info skill. He have many questions related to that women and all that is happening right now, as skills can only be obtained at the time of first awakening, or in dungeons with a rare possibility for a skill stone appearing. And he is sure that this gacha info skill can tell him about the future, so he needs to investigate further. And he clicks on it again. The gacha costs 1 mana per try. Jin tried it 6 times, but every try was a failure. He have only 1 mana left now. He also thinks that status window is very useful as it shows all the abilities. In other words, it can help him formulate a strategy before raiding a dungeon, whereas the mana watch only shows the updates from the wearer. Jin then thinks if he had more mana, it would have been great. But then the gacha gives him super rare information about a treasure dungeon which will appear soon. Jin reaches the place, and there appears the dungeon. There are only 2 known treasure dungeons in the entire world, and there is a possibility that it will give a legendary weapon, like the Excalibur and the Green Dragon Crescent Blade. A treasure dungeon doesn't have monsters in it, but there's always a possibility, so he enters the dungeon risking his life. He is lost because of the illusion magic. He is worried about using mana, but he uses observation skill and there finds a secret entrance. He enters it and finds that there are many dwarves. One of the dwarf greets him for passing the first test. His name is Giz, and he will have to fight Giz for the second test, and that if Jin wins the battle, he will also give him a reward. Jin asks if it will be a spar. Other dwarves laughs, and Giz says to follow him. On their way, Giz tells him about the people that lost the test earlier, and also about G's. The pact is developed by them that restricts your actions in exchange of great power and leads to death if broken, and they have developed the battle in their own way. Giz then shows him a video game screen and says that it is the ultimate invention they have made. Jin is surprised that a video game and console is the second test he was talking about. Giz says that he will teach him the controls first. When the game loads, Jin again gets surprised, as it was a fighting game that Jin is familiar with. Giz says that this technology is not common, but he don't know that Jin is a pro player from the very dimension that this type is famous. Jin says to start the game. Giz thinks Jin would give up soon, but the situation was quite opposite. Jin is super confident, at least in his gaming skills, and he defeats Giz with ease. Giz couldn't win even once. Other dwarves are also surprised, and Jin says that he is expecting a lot from the dwarves' treasures. Other dwarves said that if he will beat them, they will give them much better stuff than the weapon that Lizard and Bear gave. Actually, he is referring to the other 2 known treasure dungeons, but Jin defeated all of them easily. They analyzed Jin's body for his reward, and got shocked that he have level 3 communication. Jin is unaware of what it means, so he asks them about it. So they got surprised as he don't know how powerful this skill is. They explained that level 2 can be achieved by honing one's skills in a lifetime, but level 3 is in whole another dimension. For example, swordsmanship level 3. It would be the root of all swordsmanship, that is the genesis spread throughout the universe, the original born from true universe. To sum it up, it's the ability to create concepts. The Grand Master also says that meeting him is a great honor. He called Mikhail, as Mikhail is best at dealing with such ambiguous circumstances, and Mikhail can also see the future. Mikhail is also fired up by seeing such talent. So they goes to a room, and came back instantly with a bracelet. Jin says that they just took it out from their storage. So the dwarves got angry, saying that what did he expect? They got a guy who can see into the future. Mikhail also gave him a bag full of mana stones, saying that it's the fees of seeing a level 3 with his eyes. Jin is grateful. Giz says he is happy and to come again if he gets the chance, and punches Jin, making him unconscious. Jin wakes up outside the dungeon. Then Jin appreciates their efforts and uses observation on the bracelet, and is surprised by its abilities. And then he uses his info gacha skill, but they were all wasted. The next day, Jin reaches the guild and sees that it is empty. The guild leader says he will have to join the combat squad to go in a dungeon. Jin also thinks that it will be a good chance to test the king of all weapons, that is, his bracelet. That gets to the dungeon entrance, and it is a D-rank dungeon. Guild leader explains that the main objective is to collect mana stones and help level up Jin and Soyun. They enters the dungeon. Joe Hakri, the captain of the mission, yes, the guy which mocks our protagonist, is a rank hunter. He gives the last hits to Soyun. When Soyun asks him to give the last hits to Jin, he again makes fun of Jin, saying he is just a nobody having 7 mana and 3 trashy skills. And then he orders Jin to only collect mana stones. Soyun objects him, but he orders Soyun to not talk on this matter. Jin says it's fine, he will handle the mana stones. Hakri then says to enter the boss room, and there Hakri attacks the boss and knocks him in a single hit. Other party members are relieved and says that as Soyun have gathered all the experience of the monsters, they shall leave boss's last hit to Jin. Hakri denies their opinion. Hakri then attacks the guy who said this, and kills every other party member including that guy. Jin and Soyun remains only. Jin concludes all the earlier deaths were caused by Hakri. Hakri then says he couldn't leave Soyun after seeing her abilities, as he will absorb her skills after killing both of them. So he attacks Jin first, but Jin bracelet transforms in a sword and blocks his attack. Soyun attacks Hakri, but he kicks her back. Jin uses his observation skill on Soyun and says to her to use her absolute shield, as she just leveled up. Hakri attacks on her shield. Jin says to preserve that shield as they can escape after he kills the boss with the remaining single hit. Hakri breaks her shield, and Jin notices that they can't escape yet. Hakri informs him that after killing the boss, 10 to 30 minutes cooldown is required. But little did he know, he was aiming for level up. Jin reached overall level 2, and received a skill known as Connection Gacha. It is a skill that will load a skill from randomly selected person, and first use is free. So he uses this skill. Hakri says that who is he fooling around by showing just mana. When Hakri attacks Jin, his sword transforms into a spear, the Heavenly Halberd, and he gets the powers and stats of a spear legend, Fengxian. Then Hakri attacks Jin with a powerful skill, and he gets very close to Jin and thinks now even a S-rank hunter cannot save themselves from the attack that is this close. But the very next instant, Jin breaks both his swords and attacks Hakri. Even a rank Hakri was no match for him. So he then checks if Soyun is fine, and there appears Fengxian. Jin gets shocked, and Fengxian also helps Jin to cure Soyun's condition. Jin thanks him, but his spear's time is up, so Fengxian returns to the afterlife realm. And Jin thinks only if he would a little faster. And then a message appears saying that Jin has loaded the highest possible target successfully, and a part of the target's ability has remained in the user's body. And therefore he learns the Green Dragon Maneuver skill from Fengxian's skill box, and his stats are also increased. That's it for today, guys. Hope you will like this video. Comment if you want the next part. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. Thanks for watching.